Hi everyone, good evening. This is Dina. It is Saturday. It is June 12th, and I am thrilled to be able to share with you a little bit of progress that I made today while at our stitching meetup here in Gainesville. We had a wonderful time. I'll just talk about it briefly. I decided not to film anyone because I hadn't asked anybody if they wanted to be on a floss tube, and there were a number of us there who are floss tubers, but there were a number of people there who aren't, and I didn't want to ask them to be inconvenienced at all. I don't think they would have minded, but I didn't think about doing that ahead of time, so I just didn't film. But I will try to catch some pretty footage, perhaps of the location later on, and insert it for you so you could see the room where we were, because it was beautiful. One of our attendees was a floss tuber, and I saw her taking some video part of the day, so I think she may put that on her channel, and you probably could see that, and if she does, I'll try to remember to tell you about it. So today at our stitching meetup, we originally had about 23 people that we expected to be there, and we wound up having 18 of us stitch together most of the day. We had one guest who showed up that was just there at the library, heard about what we were doing, asked to be introduced to the group, and come to find out, she's been a stitcher in the past, hasn't been stitching for 30 years. She's been helping to raise her 8 grandchildren. And now that they're up and kind of on their own, old enough, to be by themselves, she's finding herself having a little more time, and she's getting back into stitching. So we were sharing with her where to find good supplies and to come back and stitch with us next month. And so I'm hoping that she will. Her name is Eileen, and I hope that she will come and join us. So today at the stitching meetup, I took my Woof party, my block party with me. As you know, I have finished the top before, and I'm now working on the band that goes around the block. So today I picked up where I had left off. I had finished from this doghouse to this doghouse, and so I picked up and did my dog. This is my interpretation of Coco with her summer cut, and she even has a little bit of whiskers on there. It's so cute. That was how it was charted. It was perfect. And then a poodle, which I find awesome. My sister has a miniature poodle. Hers is black, but this one was charted for white, and there wasn't a lot of white on there yet, so I decided I'd go ahead and make that one white. But it does represent my sister's puppy, although he is no bigger than Coco. He is a mini poodle. He is only 8 pounds. But I think that's great. And of course, my sister used to have a dachshund, so that represents Marley. So there you go. That side is complete. And now I will start working on this side, and next time that I pick it up. I'm excited to get that much done today. My goal was to finish one side to the end, and I didn't get it all done while we were stitching together. I did have to come home. I got to the poodle, and I got the poodle to about right here, and then I came home and I finished the little bit of the poodle and the 3 little motifs above it today after I got home, just so I could meet my goal and feel comfortable about putting it away again. So that was a wonderful stitching day. It was so good to see people that we haven't seen in a while. So good to get to catch up with people that we hadn't visited with for a little while. So in addition to the stitching meetup today, I came home to find a bit of mail, and so I want to share that with you. I have some happy mail here. This is a pattern that was sent to me, with a couple other little things. A beautiful card, one for me and one for my son, which I think is very, very sweet. But this is a pattern that was stitched by one of the other people who won one of my gifts that I gave away for one of my milestones that we did. And this is great because it will go right in with my Patriotic stitching. I may not get to stitch it this year, but I will put it in that group and I'll have it for next time. But it says, I wish that I could stay to say happy birthday, USA. A little snowman saying that. My sister's mom that I made the tea box for collects snowmen. And I think that might make a great little flat fold for her, maybe for next year, for birthday or something. So thinking about it. Stephanie, let me know what you think about that. But I want to thank my viewer. She sent this as a thank you for the package. And again, not necessary, but much appreciated. Then I got in an order from a vendor. It's a online store, and she's local. She's in Atlanta, and she has been sort of building up her online presence for a while. And hold on, and I will tell you her company name, because I got a business card right here. It's String Theory, and I want to make sure I say it correctly. Hang on one second. String Theory Needle Arts. And she comes to our stitching meetups sometimes. She wasn't there today. But what I have to share with you is fabric. I was looking for fabric during the shortage, and she had started carrying some fabrics, but the ones I picked were actually ones she was going to have to order. So that was okay as long as I knew I was going to get them. I wasn't worried about it. And I ordered them a while back, and I knew it was going to take a little while for her to be able to get them in and then cut them and get them out. But I got a notice yesterday that my order had shipped, and today they're here. So I want to show you the first one here. This one is Haunting by Lugana, and I think a lot of you have seen that in the past, but isn't that beautiful? A lot of folks have done Sleepy Hollow and Halloween things on Haunting, but I think that is a beautiful, beautiful piece. Love the little bit of purple and green that you see in there. Just precious. This is a 32 count. And it's by Fabrics by Stephanie. It is a Lugana because, you know, I like Luganas. I'm going to fold it and put it back up because the name of the fabric and what it is and the count is in the card here and not on the fabric. And I need to attach that information to the fabric itself. So I will pin that with a straight pin and before I put it away in my fabric stash. So the next fabric is also a fabric by Stephanie, and it is called Forest Bloom. And I want to share that with you. Now this is a fat 8. The rest of these are fat 8, and it's mainly because I wanted to try out these colors. It's hard to tell online exactly what they look like. So this one is Forest Bloom. Has a lot more of the green and red. And if you look, it almost looks like you can see leaves imprinted in the fabric. It's supposed to look like that anyway, I believe. So pretty, quite pretty. So I got a smaller piece just so I could see what they look like and I could do a small project on them. And again, it's 32 count Lugana. I think all of these are going to be that. Then my next one is also a Lugana. Fabrics by Stephanie. And the name of it is Jamie's Kilt. So here you are with Jamie's Kilt. Now, I don't know if you feel this way, but to me, Jamie's Kilt and the one I just showed you, Forest Bloom, are quite close to one another. This one just appears to be a little bit more muted than this one. Good to know, but I think they are probably dyed with the same colors. That's what it looks like to me anyway. So if you're interested in these, Jamie's Kilt is the more muted of the colors, and the Forest Bloom, they're a little brighter, but I think they're the same colors. They look that way to me. Anyway, and then the last one, oh no, I've got two more. This again is a Fat 8, Lugana 32 count, and it is a Fabrics by Stephanie as well, and it's called Secret. Look familiar? To me, it looks extremely similar to the last two that I just shared with you. Except this one seems to have a flaw in the middle. I don't know. I think they all are the same. Just maybe a different intensity of colors. So this is good that I tried little tiny pieces to see what they look like. So far, Jamie's Kilt, of these three that I think are the same, very similar colors, I like Jamie's Kilt the best. But that's okay. That's why I'm experimenting. This one is quite different, and I love it. It's also Fabrics by Stephanie. It's also a Fat 8. It is called Rhiannon. Rhiannon. Rhiannon or something. Anyway, here it is. Isn't that beautiful? Love the purple. Like the beautiful colors in it. Now this one is quite different. I like it because it is quite different. And I can distinguish that it's different. So, good choice here. So those are my haul. I had ordered these, as I mentioned, a good while back. Good thing I have my Stitch from Stash built up, because I hadn't been making many purchases. Doing my Whip Go, I was doing projects I already had, or on the go, or new starts I already had kitted. And so I hadn't been buying too much. So I've at least got plenty of room there to account for those fabrics. But I hope you like them. And I certainly am going to enjoy stitching on them. So that is my news for the day. I can't think of anything else I need to share with you from today. And I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. And I will hopefully have some more stitching to share with you tomorrow. Happy stitching, everyone. Hi everyone, this is Dina. I'm so sorry that I didn't get this done quick enough to go up in my last video, but I want to go ahead and pull the winners for the two patterns that I showed in episode 166. So I've copied the URL here into the YouTube random comment generator, and I've put in the first search criteria. We're going to get those comments now. And there were 36 that were interested in stitching Project Quarantine. Clara Arellano. She said, another wonderful video. Lovely haircut. Thank you, Clara. She would like to stitch Project Quarantine, please. She enjoyed seeing Coco looking out the window waiting for her daddy to come home. Always enjoy seeing your whips. See you next time. Okay, Clara, I'll make sure I have my email in the Dropbox below. If you will send me your mailing address, that would be wonderful. Then I can pop that pattern in the mail to you. Okay, now we're going to go back up here and we're going to change this. I'm going to put in the word truckin'. And we're gonna get those comments. There were 9 people interested in the July Truckin' Along, and we'll raffle that. Arlene Luna. Prayers for your son and family. I would like to stitch Project Quarantine. July trucking pattern is nice too. God bless. Okay, Arlene, you've actually won the Truckin' Along July pattern, so I'm glad you like it as well. Please do the same thing. Go to my email address in the Dropbox below and send me your mailing address so I can put the pattern in the mail to you. Thanks everyone for commenting and for participating and letting me pass these wonderful patterns along to you. Happy stitching! Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is fairly late Sunday night. Let me see. It's about 10:15, and I am going to be heading to bed, taking Coco night-night here in a minute. But I wanted to show you my progress on one of my whips today. I worked on this project once this week already, and I didn't film it because I knew I was going to be working on it a second time today. I took a break Saturday and worked on my Woof block party and got one whole side of it completed on that piece that goes around, the long piece. And I've shared that with you, but today I came back and worked a little bit more on my Giggles in the Snow. I'm getting close to a finish. I'm not there yet. There's still a lot of stitching to do in it, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that, but let me show you where I got to. So I was able to finish his shoes, and so now the only thing I have left to do on the little boy are some of these snow shadows around his feet. There's several of those. And then I came on over here and I worked more on her little skirt. And so I've done quite a bit of this around in this section and decided that was about as far as I could get this evening. I have to take a break here in a minute and make sure that I have everything I need all set up for my Patriotic stitch in the morning. So I want to get that ready. But today I actually stitched the second half of this project, but when you total all the stitches I've put in it since you saw it last, so for the 2 days this week that I've had a chance to work on it, it's 726 stitches. So I think it's coming along beautifully. I have the rest of her dress and her little shoes that are sticking out here, and then I'll do her snow shadows at the same time that I do his because they're the same colors. Their symbols are different. That was interesting. Because these are 2 separate patterns, they use the same colors, but the symbol in the actual pattern is different. So on the boy's side, these symbols in the snow don't match the symbols for the snow in the girl's side, but they're the same colors. So I have to stop and really think which one I'm looking at. So there you have it. That's how far we've gotten, and we'll put that away. So now I want to share with you something I picked up from the framers. I had a gift card from my son, some left on it, and I took it with me to Michael's, and I picked out a frame, and I went ahead and framed Santaberry pudding. And here it is. Now I want to go through this and kind of show you how it was done. This is a very interesting mat. This mat is a dark blue with a bit of dark gray-black modeling in it. It almost looks a little metallic when you see it, but it's not. But I liked that because I liked it to pull out the dark blue, a little bit of dark blue that's in here, in the stars, in the house, and in the words. It matches them all, and the sleigh. But if you'll recall, this is the piece that I misread and I stitched it on the wrong count fabric. I didn't get a big enough count as far as making everything much larger than this. And when I ordered the button pack for the pattern and tried to put it in here, that's when I realized I had a big mistake. But I worked with them, I rearranged some of them, used them in different places, and I was able to make it work. It's not perfect, but I wasn't going to restitch the whole thing. So I think it looks fine. Picked it up today, and I really, really like the frame on it. If you can see, it's just got a sort of a wood grain look to it. There you go. You can really see it up here now. The light's hitting it better. And I just felt like that was a really pretty frame to this piece. It is not the traditional Christmas pattern. It's not the traditional Christmas colors. But I think it really looks good together. So I'll add this to my Christmas decor this coming year. And I'm really tickled to have it done and have it back. So I wanted to share that with you. Thanks for letting me do that. And now I'm going to call it a day. It's the end of the week. Today I realized that I had forgotten to pull the names through the random comment generator for the 2 patterns that I wanted to give away. And I was supposed to do that on my last video. Sorry, I shook you. And I just forgot to do it. So I pulled out my phone today and turned it around to record it and pulled up the random comment generator, and those winners' names have been pulled and they're in the segment just prior to this one, so you'll be able to see that and let me know if you're the lucky winner, and I'll send those right to you. So I've got that, and then the other thing I want to mention to you in case I forget, because I put several of these together over several days, is that today I went walking with my husband and Coco, and we went over to a local college, Brenda University, and there are some wonderful housing, little neighborhoods that are built all around the school. And some of the houses have been made into offices and headquarters of certain schools and things. But it's a great place to walk. So many people walk their animals there. And tonight, Tommy and I walked Coco there. And I've got some footage of her at different times. I didn't catch her when we met other dogs. We met 3 other dogs tonight and this evening, and 2 were in one family and 1 was by himself with his owner, and Max was his name, and he is a golden doodle where Coco is a labradoodle, an Australian heritage labradoodle, which means she's got Cocker Spaniel in her as well. But we met 2 other little puppies that were very small little ones. One was part Maltese and something else, but their names were Ladybug and Lynn, and they have been raised together for 3 years. Lynn is older, he's probably about 8 years old, but Ladybug's only 3, and they've been together her whole life, and the couple that we met with the puppy dogs had adopted them from their owner who had to move into an assisted living center, and they had adopted them this year. So they're fairly new to their family, and we got to meet them tonight walking, and Coco did so well. She actually wanted to meet them. She was a little shy, but she did well, and they sat and, you know, played around together for a little bit while we talked. So that was so pleasant. It was quite nice. I also got a little tiny picture, a little piece of footage from something I find very funny, and that is that one of the homeowners there has a rooftop from the first floor, like a balcony almost, but it's nice and big. And they let their dog out there, and he sits there like a sentry, and he barks at everything that comes by. So tonight, his owner was sitting out there with him, and he wasn't barking as bad. So I tried to grab a little footage of him just so you could see him sitting on the roof, because I find that very funny. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the footage at the end of the video that has Coco walking. My husband's playing with her, letting her play hard in the grass, jump and run to get some of her energy out. As we were walking, we stopped to do that on one of the pretty grassy spots on the campus. So you'll get to see them playing together as well. I hope you enjoy it, and in the meantime, happy stitching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch, in case I haven't mentioned that lately. Today is Wednesday. It is the 16th of June. So I have been working on my Patriotic stitching. Started it Monday and worked it through today. And I'm stopping now at a good place so that I can do my other obligations this evening, which is my choir practice. And then I will possibly pick up on another whip, maybe just to get some work into it. I don't know how many of you are in Facebook groups where you actually do challenges and make posts of your progress in the challenges. But for some reason, our Facebook groups, I'm having great difficulty. It's not letting me post anything. So I haven't been able to meet my prompts as far as documenting that I've met them, but I certainly have been working on them, and that'll be something I'll just have to wait until it's corrected, apparently. But Coco's here with me. I'm petting her, in case you're wondering why I'm leaning over. She's wanting some love and attention today. Daddy's been gone today. He had to go to Atlanta today to see a podiatrist about a sore, I think he has a stone bruise on his foot, and it won't get well because he keeps running on it. But anyway, he went to have his orthotics checked out in his shoe, and he decided to run while he was in Atlanta. So he's still on his way home, and Coco is at the window watching for Daddy now. So I'll go ahead and give you my update report. Well, the Patriotic stitching that I started on Monday is Jeanette Douglas's Patriotic Sampler. This is a beautiful piece, and I purchased this pattern when I was in Las Vegas with my sister Stephanie for a big birthday trip for the two of us. And I went ahead when I bought it, and I bought the called for fabric, which is 32 count lamb's wool linen, and I bought the specialty pack that had all of the floss, the buttons, and the charms to go with it. So when I pulled out the silks from the pack, there were 2 bundles of silk, and I decided to put them on thread drops for myself just to keep them nice and straight. So here are my thread drops. These thread drops were gifted to me by a viewer, and I really, really like them. They're nice and sturdy, really thick paper, really thick cardstock. And then when we had our stitching meetup Saturday, a couple of the people who came were sweet and brought me little gifts, and one of them had brought me a little needle case, and it was packaged with this little card, and it was a square card at the time, and I have since cut it the same shape as my thread drop so that it could be the card that I used to identify my project. Patriotic Sampler by Jeanette Douglas. So in case these get separated, I know exactly where they go. Anyway, the reason I mention this to you is because these silks are beautiful, and there's only a few colors. There's what, 7 colors in the whole thing? But unfortunately, even though some of the colors I don't have as many strands as others when I open the package, the one that shocked me was this one. I had one strand, one grouping of strands, which means it had 12 strands in it. This is all the length that it had in the strand. That's it, and it was only one of them. And this color is actually supposed to do all of the lettering in this thing. All of it. Well, I've done some lettering, and based on the fact that one of these strands, because I'm using one strand over 2 threads, which is what this is called for, and since I bought the thread pack, I had to do it that way because I didn't want to run out of thread. Unfortunately, counting how many letters I'm getting out of one length of thread, it only gives me about 2 letters, or 2 and a little bit of a letter if it's a small letter. And I've calculated up then how many strands it would take to do all this color. I don't have enough. They didn't give me enough. Had they given me full lengths, because this one is a lot shorter than the others that I have. And the reason you can know that is that these are doubled and double. They're folded double and then they're folded over again. They're nice long strands of silk. This one, you can only loop over one time, and it's the same length. So it's about half the length of these, which means I had half the floss that I should have had for one grouping. Somehow I got shortchanged. Don't know how, don't know why. Nothing I can do about it. And the fact that I bought this so long ago, I don't even think they would be able to correct it for me. It's been too long. So here's what I did. I just went over to my DMC stash, and I just took this thread with me, and I looked until I found a color that was as close to it as I could get. And this one is just a shade darker. So what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna use this on my next word that's really long, which is happiness. And then after happiness is done, I'm gonna switch to this one. So these letters may look just a little bit darker, but I don't think it'll be so noticeable that you would actually be able to identify it. Anyway, I looked in my silks and I didn't have any silks this color or anything near this color. And I didn't really want to frog out everything I had stitched to change the color. So I just got the one that's closest to it. Anyway, that was kind of sad. I wish I had looked at it when I first bought it, but I didn't open it until I was ready to start it. So anyway, there you have it. So speaking of starting it, let me show you where I got to. Here's my start. Isn't that beautiful? This blue is beautifully variegated, just lightly variegated. And the way they tell you to stitch it is not a regular cross, across or back or one at a time. They tell you to stitch it one at a time, but you're to go down a row and up a row and down a row and up a row and down a row. And when you do that, it stripes in a much prettier, like diamond shaped pattern around these diamonds. I think it just looks beautiful there. And then so that's your first different stitch that you do. I don't know that I'd call that a specialty stitch, but it is different. And then you do the stitches in the middle, and they are a specialty stitch. And I'm gonna open this right now and tell you what it is. It is called These are stars that have a Rhodes center and an elongated Milanese coming off of them. So it's 2 specialty stitches combined. The one in the middle is your Rhodes stitch, and then you've got the Milanese long stitch that are the points that come out off of each side. They're each in a different color. So these are all your colors minus the tan. You only use the tan for the lettering. So these are all the colors you're going to use in the piece. And then you do the Borgello stitch for the bunting. And then you do this next little specialty stitch. The lettering is done in cross stitch, so there's no trouble with that. So let me turn the page and I'll tell you what that stitch is. So now you use the Milanese stitch, and then you use a Jobelin Milanese stitch in the middle, and then you use upright cross stitches. So this is 3 specialty stitches combined into one, but your Milanese stitch is this red stitch out here, and every other one is done just slightly different. You've got 4 of the same and 4 of the same, but each one that's next to each other is slightly different. And then you have your Jobelin or Gobelin, I'm not sure how to say that, Milanese stitch that is this blue stars right in here. Of course, they look familiar. They look very similar to these up here. And then, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there are, in each of the 4 corners, there are white here, 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 and here. I should say not in the corner, but in the widest spaces. There's 1 white upright cross stitch to make that motif. So this is 3 days of work. I've counted my stitches as best I could because it's hard to count when you're doing a single strand, just straight stitches that are different lengths. So I just counted every 2 stitches that I did, every 2 strands, you know, regardless of their length. I counted 2 to make 1 stitch. So if anything, I've undercounted my stitches. But this represents 2,308 stitches so far. And I think that's a good place to stop. And I will pick it up next time. When I pick it up the next time, I will be working on this beautiful flag. And that's the other words I'm going to do in the silk. And probably if I have enough silk, I can do this word here as well. And then I'll do that piece. And then I'll swap over to the DMC for this last 2 rows where they've got writing in there. The other thing I want to tell you is, as of right now, I don't think I'm going to do the bottom border. I think I'm going to get rid of these 2 bands. And my thought is to do a simple border through here and then put in my initials and the year to sign the piece. So since I'm calling it a sampler, I would like to sign it. And that way I don't have to replicate something I've already done in these specialty stitches. I think it'll keep it more interesting for me. And these little triangles right here, they take a very long time to do. So I don't relish doing them over again, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope you like it. That is my Patriotic start for Monday. So I'm very excited about that. Today I ran out to Joann's and I picked up my little white stars that I needed to finish the God Bless You. I got those at Joann's and put them on today. And so now I will have to decide if I'm going to make this into a pillow or a flat fold or just what, but I'm really enjoying it. And I also purchased fabric today to do my fully finish on my Let's Stay Home and Stitch. And I will do that as soon as I put in the thread in that needle that I never did. But I'll get that done. So that's my update for today. Thanks for letting me share it with you. I hopefully will be back in a day or two to show you my progress on some whips and what I'll be doing the rest of the week before I do my next patriotic stitch. In the meantime, enjoy what you're stitching, everyone. Goodbye. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tina, and today is Thursday. It is the 17th of June, and I'm going to be leaving here in just a little bit to go play canasta for the day, but I wanted to show you what I've been working on this morning. I've been doing some FFOing. Now, I have one project I'm going to have to, I think, do a little more work on because I noticed that a crease in my fabric has not come out, even though I stretched it pretty well this morning. I'm going to have to take it back out, maybe steam it a bit. I've got to be careful because I have over-dyed threads in this one, but this is Mice in the Sewing Room, and you can see that big fat crease right there. When I was stretching it, it looked like I had pulled it out, but when I sat it back in the frame, I could tell it's still there. But this is one of those, bought this frame because it had a beautiful white mat in it that I thought pulled this out beautifully. And it should have fit perfectly. Well, it was a little too tight. It actually covered up a couple of stitches on the little mice's tails. And I didn't want that. So I took the matting out and I went ahead and popped this in. And I think it's really cute, but I don't know that it'll be there permanently, simply because of that crease. I've got to take it out and work on that. But for now, I'm going to pop it up here just to enjoy it a little bit in my sewing room. I got this frame, and I got my next frame I'm going to show you at Hobby Lobby the other day, 50% off. And then I went to the back and I picked up some mat board or mounting board to use, and I got the thinnest they had, because I like when I use these picture frames, I get ones that just have toggle switches in the back and have a pretty deep amount of room so that I can put cross stitch in here. But I still get the thinnest board I can get. And I went to buy that and ask them to cut it, because you'll see the next one is a little bit of an odd shape. And the young lady was so kind, she cut the board for me and just charged me $6 and didn't make me buy the rest of the board. So I was prepared to buy the whole piece and just keep working at it. But I was really tickled that she didn't make me do that. So for just a little bit, I think this on sale was about $5 or $6. And my next frame I had to pay full price for, $9.99. But with $6 to cut the mat board, then that was about $20 I spent to frame 2 of my pieces. That's not too bad. I was really excited about that. But this one, I'm really tickled about the frame. I can't wait for you to see my Easter Peep and how it looks now in the new frame. This was an interesting cut because I actually thought about having the mat boards cut because of this frame. The inside is not square. It actually is this shape. So your mat board or your backing board that you use, however you mount yours, had to be that shape. So I'm thinking that they probably have the tools to do that there a lot better than I do. And I asked the young lady if she would cut it. And I took the little inside insert, you know, that sits in the frame when it's on the shelf, a little piece of paper, and gave it to her as a guide, you know, as to what shape I needed for both of these, so she could get the exact size and the exact shape. And she brought it back to me and she said, I hope this one fits okay. She said, we don't have anything to cut curves like that. I had to do that by hand. Well, bless her heart. I mean, I would have had to do that too. I thought it would be easy. I thought they'd have something, you know, that they could do curves with, but apparently not. But she worked at it until she got it exactly right, and it looks great, I think, in there. I love this little frame. I think I have not seen one like it. Kind of reminds me of something you would have found in Beauty and the Beast, the little ornate wardrobe or some of their, you know, furniture and stuff. Anyway, I think the green does a good job of pulling out all the green vines and leaves, and makes it look real springy, and I just really, really like it. So I'll be putting this up in my sewing room since it is still summer here, and I'll be putting my sewing mice up on my picture rack, my picture shelf. And so I will be enjoying these two finishes. I have one more finished stitching to fully finish, and that's my Stay Home and Stitch pillow. But I bought my backing fabric and I bought trim for that, and I'm gonna be hopefully working on that if I can, either this evening or may have to wait till tomorrow. But I'm trying to get all my finishing done this week before I start my next Patriotic stitch next week. So you may be seeing one more or two more things pretty soon. I hope you have a great day today. If I have any time to stitch this evening, I'll be sure and come back and share it with you. In the meantime, enjoy everything you work on. Happy stitching. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Jeanette. Today is Sunday, June 20th. It's Father's Day today. It's also my and my husband's 45th wedding anniversary. It's been quite an exciting weekend. We've been celebrating. I have also gotten a chance to do a little bit of stitching today. I started this yesterday and finished it up this evening. So I decided to get a little bit more work done on my Little Sheep Virtues. So the next one I needed to do is Wisdom, and I went ahead and did that in the lower corner on the last row, and here's what it looks like. Here's my little Wisdom, and if you'll notice, the button is already there. This is the final row. I won't be rolling it up any further, so I've decided on these final 5, I'll go ahead and put the button on as I stitch it, and then that's one less row I have to put buttons on when I finish. But I will tell you, I love that little sheep. He's got a beautiful pattern in the wool there on the sheep. But it is a little tight because of my border being the way that it is, that border here and here. It's made this one just a little bit tight, so I had to stitch within one stitch here, and this one actually is touching the border to get that heart there, but I liked the heart and I wanted to leave it there, but it barely fit. I barely got it in there. Love it. Now you'll notice, if you're familiar with this pattern, or if you watched, some of you are very, very astute and you always comment and tell me when I do things like this. You'll notice that this book has ABC on it and mine doesn't. Well, on my Afghan it does, but on this piece I realized how close I was going to be, and I didn't want to hit the border all the way across. So I didn't have quite enough width in the book in order to put the ABC on it. So I just left it off, because this one's going to be a little different anyway because of the border. It's also going to be a little different because this one will have buttons on all of the sheep virtues. So it's not going to be an exact copy of what's on the Afghan, but it will be extremely close. So there you go. I don't have ABC on the book. I just did it a solid book across for Wisdom. But I'm excited because I have only 4 left and I'll be finished with this piece. Isn't that good news? Well, I felt like having only 2 days to work on stitching this week, that would be a good thing to work on, and I'm glad I did. So I have been busy, and I've been stitching, but I've also been quite busy. We're in the middle of planning, really detailed planning for our fundraising event, because we're gonna do some work for our beneficiary before we even do the fundraiser. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm very happy about that. And tomorrow I go with 2 other people and meet with another person from the Y, and we will be doing some very detailed planning for these work days that we have planned to go in and replace a floor in a daycare. So very happy about the planning session tomorrow. It's going to require a lot of work in the next 2 or 3 weeks because we'll be doing our work days in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we have to get the word out and we have to get everybody organized. But I think it'll be great, great fun. So I wanted to just share that with you, and thank you for letting me share my stitching with you for the night. I think I'm going to cut it off here and see if I have at least 30 to 45 minutes because since I'm doing the Patriotic stitching every week for the first 3 days of the month of that week, I like to go ahead and share it with you before it gets too much in there. So I'll try to do that now. It may be tomorrow before I can upload, but I'll get started working on it as soon as I can. In the meantime, I hope that you are having a fabulous month of June in your personal life, in your work life, but most of all in your stitching life. Happy stitching, everybody. Good night.
Here, let's try something over here. Okay, got the camera ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sit. Sit. Down. Down. You roll over. Roll over. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Good girl. Very good.
Here's a dog on the roof of the first floor, right there by the fire chimney, there, fireplace chimney. If you can see him, he keeps watch every day, every evening. He likes to bark at Coco when she comes by and say hello. What you doing, baby doll? What you doing? Are you sleepy? Are you ready to go night-night? Okay, you look sleepy. Say night-night to everybody.